Hey, down here. Today, we're putting on some torque box reinforcements. Okay, so today, we're going to start building the project car, Project Wide Fox or Project Jodman, with some torque box reinforcements. So most of the times, when you're going to beat on a Foxbody, you're going to find that the torque boxes will tear or have already been torn by someone previously. A good time to do everything is when you're going to have the rear axle out, but it's not required. But since I have my rear axle out, I'm going to put in some torque box reinforcements. So right now I'm going to put in the lowers first, and these are going to be an inner inside the rail and an upper kind of inside the car on the top. Okay, so once you have everything unpackaged out of the box, you're going to find a set of instructions, a couple packages of bolts, and you're going to find you have two lower plates that are going to go up in your frame rails. Now these are a left and a right, so when you put them up into the frame rail itself, so if your lower connection is right here, you're going to put this up in the frame according to the diagram. You'll notice that the top four here are going to go up against the bottom of the floor, and then you'll have a hole that will go through your lower control arm front mount there. You're going to reuse the bolt off of your lower control arm. Once you put this in place, you'll put the bolt from the inside through the frame rail. The nut will go on the outside, and it will go on the outside of your torque box. This hole itself is actually going to be what makes the difference of the left and the right, really. So what you'll notice is this is either going to line up with your bolt hole for your control arm, or it's not going to. So if it doesn't, obviously you got the wrong one. You're going to need to grab the right one and flip it around. Once you have one for the correct side, you're going to fit it up. So you'll put in kind of the point here. This will go forward in, and then you can kind of twist around to put the back face of the lower control arm bolt this way, and you're going to put that in. Once it's in place, you may find that it's going to fit very tight, so you can take either a hammer, use the handle itself, and kind of push up or bang up on the lower floor under the seat. You're going to push that up so that this fits nice and snug here, and this angle fits all the way against the sheet metal. You can then put your bolt through with the nut on the outside, and I used to use an impact driver holding it with a socket wrench on the outside, and that way I can tighten it down and squeeze all the metal together. What you'll find then is that everything's nice and tight, good angle, good surface contact on both. You definitely know your lower control arm is going to fit. And then you can either do what I did, just drill a small pilot hole up through each hole mount, and you're only going to do 3. Fourth is a grommet that you should have taken out already that I didn't mention. So once you have those drilled through there, you can then go up top. So if I show you up in here, if I show you in, you can kind of see I've drilled a small pilot hole through each hole. Now this hole here, right there, is actually where the grommet was. So that one, and then that one, you can do the small pilot hole, which will tell you where you're going to drill from the top side to make sure these fit. So now on the top side, you can see this was a grommet that needs to come out. It's a rubber grommet. That's one hole. And then I've got 3 small pilot holes here through where the reinforcement goes. The top plate itself is going to fit over top of this, and it will match the pattern of these bolts once you drill them out, and it will set over top there. Once you have your lower reinforcement bolted into place and your pilot holes drilled, you can come inside the car. Now you're just going to use maybe just a battery cordless drill itself with a 3/8 bit, and then you can drill down through the floor in through the reinforcement holes in the reinforcement itself. The pilot holes there tell you a location of where they are, and you may have to just go a little bit wider depending on how they fit in there, but you're going to drill down through your reinforcement. That way you have a top piece. Once there, you can just grind off the any kind of burr or anything else there, and then you can start getting your reinforcement plate that goes on top of the metal under the seat and get it in position. Okay, so once everything's ground down flush, you can then take your plate, set it over top, and you're going to align the bolt hole, obviously, to fit. Now, the package is going to come with a set of fasteners, so you can just take your fasteners, set the plate over top, and then you're just going to drop a bolt down through the sandwich, basically making a sandwich with the top plate and your lower reinforcement that's already bolted in place. You're going to make a sandwich there. Put the bolts down in place so that they align. If you're going to weld, take a Sharpie and then trace around the plate itself. Now this is going to give you the outline of where to grind away material or paint so that you get bare metal, and then you can grind on the plate itself to get bare metal on both surfaces. That way the last step of welding you're already prepared for. If you're just going to bolt everything together, hopefully you can get a buddy that will help hold the top or the bottom for you, and then you can tighten everything down. Now it's a matter of putting a lock washer over it, putting then a bolt on it or a nut on the bolt, tighten everything down. Then you'll now have everything aligned. It'll all be fastened together, and it's just time to weld if you've got everything down in bare metal. Alright, so once you have bolted the upper and lower pieces together, kind of making a sheet metal sandwich under the seat, if you're not welding it, you're done. If you're welding it, you should have already prepared everything, and before you bolt it down, make sure everything's ground clean and probably do some weld-through primer on the seat pan itself and then the upper plate itself. So you're going to weld those together to even increase the strength, which is recommended by the instructions. Since I have a welder, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now the bolts themselves, they don't tell you if they should go up or down. I'm putting them down because there's actually some length that stick past on the nut itself. You get about a 3/4 of an inch past the nut. I don't want that sticking up into the seat, so I actually put them down. And my arms are long enough that I can bolt from the top and the bottom, and I just use an impact with a swivel on the bottom to snug them down and just a ratchet on the top just to hold it. Now because they're lock washers, you don't have to get crazy. You can do 30, 40 pounds, just doing an impact. I just got them snug, and then just kind of extra couple clicks, and that's it. And the lock washers will prevent them from coming back loose. That's it for this time. I got some welding to do, and then we got to do the uppers. We'll see you next time.